Chapter 29:33. The divine bird was weak, so he really didn't dare to tell Yi Qinghan the truth. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan would beat him to death without blinking an eye. At this moment, Supreme Yi was bowing and currying favor. Crack crack crack. Yi Qinghan had a premonition that this guy was definitely not the so-called divine bird Supreme Yi. He shook his neck, and the joints all over his body made crisp sounds. I'll give you one more chance. Hand over all your secrets. One less thing and you can go see your father. I'm not joking. Yi Qinghan said coldly. The divine bird was so frightened by Yi Qinghan's killing intent that it almost couldn't bear it. Yi Qinghan would scare it before, but this time, he really revealed his killing intent. It showed that he wasn't joking. Boss, I'm also from Qiutian Domain. Actually, I'm the New Order. I also want to protect Qinshue, but you know my strength. I'm just a decoration. I'm good at scolding people, but when it comes to fighting, I'm just a piece of trash. The divine bird shrank his head and said softly. Buzz? Yi Qinghan's brain exploded. This guy was actually the Heavenly Tao Order. Didn't they say that the Order was emotionless? The Heavenly Tao Order had been with him for so many years, but he didn't know. Yi Qinghan sneered and asked, Then what the hell is your father? He's a complete piece of trash. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been suppressed by the primeval yin-yang. He evolved a new order and used my mother to send me to you. Then he faked his death and fled, leaving behind a lonely and helpless child like me. What? Boss, don't be angry. I didn't mean to lie to you. I'm still a child. If you're angry, just wait until you open the primal chaos heavens and find him to settle accounts. Beat him up every day, and I'll clap my hands and cheer for you. Paragon Ye's tears flowed like a river, and he put on a pitiful appearance. It was a complete disgrace to the heavenly Taos. Crack 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 crack. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and casually threw Sovereign Yi aside. He slapped his head and cursed, Damn, I'm really drunk. I was actually deceived by a bastard's son for so long. I'm not lying, boss. It's true. I really don't dare to reveal my identity. I've been acting crazy all day. But if I'm discovered by the primordial yin-yang, I'll be finished. Supreme Being Yi transformed into a human and pleaded with a fawning expression, Boss, don't be angry. You'll be the boss in the future too. Yi Qinghan took a few deep breaths again, but he was unable to calm the emotions in his heart. Supreme Sovereign Yi and his father were complete bastards, old bastards and little bastards. Yi Qinghan clutched his head, feeling a splitting headache. Even the Flame Emperor wouldn't be able to predict the current situation, let alone Yen Yu and immemorial Yin Yang. The three traps set by immemorial Yin Yang, Yen Yu, and Lord Liang were enough to make people despair. However, although the chaotic heavenly domain had lost control, it had set up an even bigger trap, trapping everyone in it. Boss, it's not that I want to lie to you. But if I had told you the truth earlier, you wouldn't have helped me fight against that old bastard immemorial yin-yang. Supreme Being Yi said helplessly. Yi Qinghan pointed at Supreme Being Yi. His finger was trembling, and his brows were tightly knitted. He and Supreme Being Yi had been together for so many years. It would be a lie to say that they didn't have any feelings for each other. He couldn't possibly kill Supreme Being Yi for lying to him, right? That would be too heartless. Plop. Supreme Being Yi said with a pitiful face, Boss, if you're in a bad mood, hit me a few times. If I beg for mercy, my father won't have a chrysanthemum. Yi Qinghan didn't say anything because he didn't know how to treat this little bastard. Boss, you're my only family. What's the difference between my father and Yen Yu? He doesn't do anything. How could he leave his son behind and run away? As long as he has some humanity, he wouldn't do such a thing. You're my boss, you're like a brother and a father to me. I really don't have any ill intentions towards you. All these years, I've been loyal and devoted to you without any second thoughts. If I say anything that goes against my heart, I'll be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Phew, Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He slowly leaned against the wall and sat down, rubbing his forehead with both hands. Then tell me, has Qinshue been captured? What's going on with the begging heavenly domain? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Supreme Being Yi shrunk his head and replied uncertainly, Young Mistress Chen Shui should have been captured. My father must have been captured because he couldn't stop it. That old bastard is the heavenly Tao. He's useless. However, I know what the begging heavenly domain is. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He leaned against the wall and asked weakly, what exactly is the begging heavenly domain? The begging heavenly domain is the place where the Taigu Emperor prayed to the heavenly Tao. There's origin energy above the progenitor realm inside. Your corresponding life star evolved from the energy inside the begging heavenly domain. My father used all his strength to send me and the star out. Supreme Being Yi glanced at Yi Qinghan from the corner of his eyes. He didn't dare to look directly at him. Yi Qinghan looked at Supreme Being Yi coldly and asked hoarsely, "It's that simple?" "It's not simple. That's the origin energy above the progenitor realm. It's the beginning of everything. It can maintain the new order of the chaos heavenly domain. How can it be simple?" Supreme Being Yi asked in an exaggerated manner. "Have you told me everything you know?" Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Supreme Being Yi replied with certainty, "I've already said it. I won't hide anything anymore." "Boss, if you still can't forgive me, as long as you're willing to, you can slash me here." After saying that, Supreme Being Yi stomped his legs on the ground and tilted his neck. He might as well smash the pot that had been broken. Yi Qinghan glanced at Supreme Being Yi from the corner of his eyes and said coldly, "It's too early to say whether I'll kill you or not. Let's talk about how to open the Chaos Heavenly Domain first. I want to enter the Chaos Heavenly Domain first and find Chen Shui. When you cultivate to the progenitor realm, you should have a chance to open the Chaos Heavenly Domain without harming the origin energy of the ancient immortal world. Right now, the Chaos Heavenly Domain is completely controlled by the primordial yin-yang. If he controls the Chaos Heavenly Domain, we'll all die," Supreme Being Yi said seriously. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows, stood up, drew his saber, and left. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yi Qinghan flew into the air and headed straight for the center of the battlefield. At this moment, the battle was completely one-sided. Kuang Fu had too much of an advantage, and the people of Class 1 Hall no longer had the courage to continue fighting. The Taigu Emperor of Class 1 Hall was dead, and more than half of Chu Shijun and Lu Feng were killed. After all, they were half progenitor realm. The rest were all killed by the experts of Kuang Fu. In the end, Mu Zhuang, Gu Qingyu, and the others charged into the enemy group. Everywhere they passed, corpses piled up like mountains. Puchi, boom. Spears pierced through the enemy's bodies, and the army began to finish them off. Those who were not dead were all killed. With the Taigu Emperor leading the charge, Class 1 Hall was defeated even faster. At this moment, Class 1 Hall felt the feeling of being chased by Kuang Fu. Yi Qinghan returned to the battlefield. The battle had been decided. He then said, "Clean up the battlefield. I'll return to the ancient immortal world first." Chapter 2934. Whoosh, whoosh. Yi Qinghan sped through space, leaping and shifting in the universe, his eyes staring at the end of the universe. "Wait for me, boss, don't abandon me," Supreme Yi shouted from behind, looking very pitiful. However, this time, Yi Qinghan was truly angry. Yi Qinghan traveled through the universe and returned to the ancient immortal world. At this moment, Yen Emperor was sitting alone by the barrier, still comprehending the most fundamental essence of the universe. He was only one step away from reaching the peak. Whoosh, Yi Qinghan appeared beside Yen Emperor, gazing at the majestic barrier in the depths of the purple clouds. The combination of the three domains formed an invincible and drought-resistant region that was countless times more stable than the ancient immortal world. "Senior Flame Emperor, I've received some news regarding the Sky Seeker domain. That place is where the origin aura above the progenitor realm gathers. The alien star and the new order come from the Sky Seeker domain. The selfless realm can only be comprehended in the Sky Seeker domain. We won't make it in time. If we wait any longer, immemorial Yin-Yang and Yen-Yu will most likely arrive before us," Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Yen Emperor frowned. He didn't know about this. Before he became an emperor, he couldn't enter the Seeking Heaven domain. This. Yen Emperor hesitated. He turned to look at the ancient immortal world. If they attacked the primal chaos heavenly domain recklessly, the ancient immortal world would definitely be destroyed. There would be no hope and countless living beings would vanish. What do you think we should do? Yan Emperor asked. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and said in a hoarse voice, break the connection between the ancient immortal world and the primal chaos heavenly domain and push it back to the depths of the universe. We'll fight here and force Yen Yu and immemorial Yin Yang out. Yan Emperor's eyes were shining. The price of forcibly breaking the connection between the ancient immortal world and the primal chaos heavenly domain wasn't something the common people could bear. Once we break the connection between the ancient immortal world and the primal chaos heavenly domain, the ancient immortal world will have no laws of order. Everyone will become mortals and might grow old in a few decades. Yan Emperor reminded in a deep voice. A few decades could lead to the collapse of the order of the ancient immortal world. That would be the true Dark Age. The common people here would be replaced by their descendants. Once they die, newborns would be born. Everything would change of dynasties. The Crazy Mansion's army wouldn't be an exception. Everyone, apart from those above the Emperor realm, everyone would die in a few decades. This was a price. Even Yi Qinghan couldn't bear such a price. Yi Qinghan paced back and forth and said in a low voice, do you think that the primordial yin-yang immortal world would separate the order of the primordial immortal world and the chaotic heavenly domain, weakening the vitality of the common people and increasing the frequency of dynastic changes? The Yen Emperor's eyes twitched as he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and said seriously, he might not be able to do that. Heaven, heavens, heavens, heaven, heavens, heaven, Dao. Heavens, Dao, Dao. Yi Qinghan and Yen Emperor looked at each other. They didn't expect the primal chaos heavenly domain to break the connection between the two. Many people's cultivation dropped drastically. Only the Taigu Emperor was still firmly above the Emperor realm. They already had their own minor Dao. Even if the Great Dao's Dao was weakened by half, it wouldn't affect them at all. The Crazy Mansion's army's cultivation dropped collectively. They fell from the fourth stage of the primal chaos heavenly domain to the mystic immortal realm. They even started to fall toward the little spirit immortal realm. In the depths of the universe, such a realm was simply courting death. Lu Feng's army was also dropping rapidly. Their faces were filled with fear and despair. What's going on? Many people couldn't breathe. Their faces were hideous. The Emperor Realm experts waved their hands and kept the army into their internal worlds. They were now at the level of the Taigu Emperor. It was easy for them to take these people away. As a half-martial ancestor, Lu Feng brought his 4 million army back to the ancient immortal world. He wanted to see what was going on. Gu Qingyu and the others were also shocked. The two great Daos intertwined and filled the sky, replacing the heavens' Dao. However, these two great Daos were unfamiliar. No one cultivated them. Therefore, they could only maintain the order and operation of the universe. They couldn't prevent people's cultivation from dropping. Whoosh! Just then, Sovereign Yi rushed towards the barrier and shouted, "Boss, don't be rash." Yi Qinghan turned to look at Sovereign Yi and shook his head helplessly. He said to Yen Emperor, "This guy is the new order. I didn't know that after following me for so many years." Yi Qinghan laughed bitterly at himself. This was truly too embarrassing. Yen Emperor looked at Sovereign Yi in surprise. Yen Emperor's Dao had some news about Sovereign Yi. Therefore, he was also in disbelief. He's the new order born in the primal chaos heavenly domain? He has feelings? Why do I feel that the new order is so despicable? Yen Emperor said. Yi Qinghan touched his head. Even Yen Emperor felt that this guy was despicable. One could see how much tolerance he had over the years. That's not right. Yen Emperor suddenly shouted, since he's the new order, he can enter the primal chaos heavenly domain. The barrier can't stop him. Yi Qinghan was so angry that he had forgotten about Sovereign Yi. Seeing him arrive, he waved his hand and grabbed him. He said coldly, "Go into the chaotic heavenly domain and destroy the barrier outside. We'll rush in and deal with those two old fogies. We'll save your father from this calamity." Supreme Ye's entire body trembled as he knelt before Yi Qinghan in fright. He said in terror, Boss, you might as well just kill me. Wouldn't I be walking right into your trap if I entered the chaotic heavenly domain? Yi Qinghan was so angry that he rolled his eyes and scolded, "The two of us are helping you. We're not afraid of death. How can you slap us to death?" Boss, you don't understand. If those two old men refine me, they can be completely lawless. Sovereign Yi said as he waved his hand. When Yi Qinghan heard this, he immediately rubbed his hands together and asked, "If I refine you, will I be able to do as I please?" Plop. Sovereign Yi had just stood up, but he was so frightened that he knelt on the ground and slapped his face hard. "Boss, you're not in the ancestor realm. It's useless even if you refine me." Sovereign Yi explained in horror. Yi Qinghan obviously didn't believe him. How could this guy be speaking the truth? Even Yen Emperor felt that refining Sovereign Yi was a little unreliable. This guy didn't have any combat ability. At most, he would enter the ancestor realm. It was unrealistic for him to be lawless and surpass the ancestor realm. Just as Yi Qinghan was hesitating, the barrier in front suddenly shone brightly and bathed in holy light. Jian Chenxue flew out. Her face was holy and her eyes were clear. She didn't seem to have suffered any injuries. Yi Qinghan wanted to rush over but was stopped by Yen Emperor. "She is not your wife, Jian Chenxue," Yen Emperor said with certainty. Yi Qinghan was stunned. How could he not know his wife? The person in front of him was Jian Chenxue. "It doesn't feel like it. I think there's something wrong," Yen Emperor reminded him with certainty. Chapter 2935. Yen Emperor's affirmation made Yi Qinghan's eyes flash with a strange light. However, he quickly regained his composure and even looked forward to it. Whoosh, whoosh, Jian Chenxue's figure flashed and appeared at the barrier. She reached out and hugged Yi Qinghan. "Husband, it's great to see you alive," Jian Chenxue said gently. Yi Qinghan's heart skipped a beat. He was sure that it was Jian Chenxue. After hugging her tightly, he asked in a low voice, "Did the immemorial yin yang make things difficult for you? What about the 9-linked gourd mother vine?" "No, they convinced me to come here and ask for peace. They hope that the war will end. As for the mother vine, they will be kept as hostages. If you agree to peace, they are willing to hand over the chaotic heavenly domain and the mother vine in exchange for the hostages. This is for long-term peace," Jian Chenxue said softly. Before Yi Qinghan could respond, Yen Emperor said straightforwardly, "Agree to peace." Yi Qinghan frowned. After all, he owed the mother vine. If he did not agree, the mother vine would definitely die. However, if he agreed, the war might really end like this. The deaths of so many people in the crazy manner would be in vain. "The ancient heavenly emperor will die," Yi Qinghan said coldly. "They will not agree. Otherwise, they will have no subordinates," Yen Emperor said calmly. Yi Qinghan frowned and looked at Yen Emperor. He did not expect Yen Emperor to be more straightforward than him. After all, the mother vine was killed by the immemorial Yin-Yang Emperor and his own father. Was he really willing to let them go? Sigh, Yen Emperor sighed and said softly, "Forget it. There is no need to continue fighting. If the stalemate continues, the older generation of your crazy manner, except for the Taiga Emperor, will all die within 100 years. The entire ancient immortal world will grow old. There is no need to treat the life and death of the common people as a trivial matter just because of the grudges between us. Otherwise, what is the difference between me and them?" Yan Emperor's righteousness convinced Yi Qinghan wholeheartedly. He deserved to have such combat strength. Since Senior has decided, Qinghan won't say anything more. Then let's have peace. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He was also unwilling to let the older generation of Kuang Manor pass away. Jian Chenxue, who was lying in Yi Qinghan's arms, was surprised and excited. Then, he broke free from Yi Qinghan's restraint and said excitedly, "It would be great if there is peace. I really don't want to see any more dead people." Whoosh, two blazing suns rose from the depths of the heaven domain. "My son, I didn't want to give up on you back then either. However, for the sake of the Yen clan's longevity, there are some sacrifices that must be made. Without becoming an ancestor, how can I protect my clansmen? As for the dead members of the Yen clan, I will resurrect them sooner or later. As for the dead members of the Kuang Manor, I will also resurrect them. As long as you can forgive us for what we have done, everything will be peaceful. Is that okay?" Yen Yu said in a deep voice. The Yen Emperor took a deep breath as tears welled up in his eyes. Back then, he was obsessed with the Yen tribe. His goal was to make the Yen tribe a supreme being instead of a slave. His idol was the Yen ancestor. But now, everything had turned into a joke. Ha! The Yen Emperor turned and left without saying a word. His back was full of vicissitudes. The human sovereign sword in his hand hummed softly. Yi Qinghan held his long saber and said in a hoarse voice, "Yen Yu, immemorial Yin Yang, I will give you 3 months to separate the primal chaos heavenly domain and let the laws of order return. From today onwards, the primal chaos heavenly domain will be independent. We will not allow anyone to enter the primal chaos heavenly domain. As for the ancient immortal world, we will split it into 4. Leave the mother vine and the 9-linked ring gourd to me. From today onwards, the ancient immortal world will be peaceful. Tribulation Taker, Flame Emperor, this ancestor has never admired anyone in my life. But this time I really admire the two of you. As long as there is peace, this ancestor will do as you said and establish an independent chaotic heavenly domain. From now on, neither you nor I will be able to enter. However, the mother vine and the 9-linked gourd must stay. I promise them that they can live safely in the yin-yang domain. They will have a high status and no one will be able to take away half of the gourd." Yi Qinghan frowned. Clearly, he was unwilling to hand over the mother vine and the 9-linked ring gourd to immemorial yin-yang. "Then hand over the ancient heavenly emperor to me." Yi Qinghan gestured with his hand. Immemorial yin-yang mocked, "Headmaster Yi, would you be willing to hand over Gu Qingyu of the crazy manor to me?" Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly. "Then you are not sincere. I have shown you my sincerity. I will release Jian Chenxue and the mother vine. I will only leave the 18 gourds as hostages. If Headmaster Yi wants anything else, you will have to show your sincerity and exchange it with the older generation of the crazy manor." Immemorial Yin-Yang said. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth. He did not have much choice as the mother vine was still in the hands of immemorial Yin-Yang. "All right, we will do as you say. The ancient immortal world will be divided into north and south with the primal chaos heavenly domain as the boundary. The central region will be divided into 4 regions with the Yen tribe's ancestral land as the boundary," Yi Qinghan said through gritted teeth. Immemorial Yin-Yang and Yen Yu smiled faintly and nodded in agreement to Yi Qinghan's request. As long as the 9-linked ring gourd was in their hands, Yi Qinghan had to maintain peace for the sake of the mother vine. Chapter 2936. The Flame Emperor was reminiscing, but so was Yi Qinghan. Now that he had reached the peak, the 4 great experts had divided the world. The Flame Emperor had no one to share it with, but Yi Qinghan couldn't see those familiar faces. Everything returned to tranquility. Yi Qinghan sat on the same spot as the Owl War Star. Now that the divine bird wasn't here, he felt that something was missing. Data? Yi Qinghan knocked on the stone tablet. Yi Xiaosa, the God-Devourer Eagle, and the little golden crow were all listless. Obviously, they couldn't accept such a result. What a childish scheme. I can't do anything about it. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly as he muttered to himself. What? Yi Qinghan laid on the grass and looked up at the sky. It was as if he could see the even more despicable face of the divine bird's father. He really wanted to smash the sky with a punch. What scheme? Yi Xiaosa crawled to Yi Qinghan's side and asked flatteringly. Yi Qinghan glanced at Yi Xiaosa from the corner of his eyes. He didn't answer because the scheme was very simple. He, the Flame Emperor, the immemorial Yin Yang, and Yen Yu all knew about it, but they couldn't do anything about it. It's too tiring to think about schemes. It's enough to have boss to think about it. Boss, I just want to know if the despicable bird will come back. The God-Devourer Eagle's honest expression was a little lonely as he asked softly. Yi Qinghan felt like his head was about to explode at the mention of Sovereign Yi. He didn't even want to think about it. Maybe he won't come back. Yi Qinghan said softly. The heavenly Tao gave birth to a new order because it wanted to break free from the control of the immemorial Yin Yang. Now that it had broken free, there was no need for a new order. Sovereign Ye's order might not need to appear. Thinking of this, Yi Qinghan's heart ached. He and Sovereign Ye's pairing had already become a habit. They had already transcended love and family. It was a relationship where blood was thicker than water and couldn't be separated. Won't come back? Yi Qinghan glared at the heavens. All his motivation came from his unwillingness to accept the current situation. This isn't what I want. Yi Qinghan stood up and clenched his fists. He said in an awe-inspiring tone, what I want is to reign supreme. Senior Yen Emperor, have you forgotten your will? Exterminating Yin and Yang, exterminating evil and treachery, cutting off all eternity on behalf of the heavens. If you don't do it, I'll do it. Boom! Yi Qinghan's aura soared to the sky as he drew his blade and walked forward. Every step he took crossed a region. His aura that could strike the heavens woke up immemorial Yin Yang, Yen Yu, and Yen Emperor. The three experts used the great Tao to look down on the common people at the same time. They stared at Yi Qinghan. Come. If this goes on, how meaningless would life be? Yi Qinghan raised his head and roared. He wanted to break this stalemate. He wanted to enter the heaven domain. If he won, he would transcend the ancestor realm. If he lost, he would die. It was better than being in this half-dead, half-alive state. The three supremes stared at Yi Qinghan. They didn't know what he wanted to do. Let's make a bet. The bet is the right to cultivate in the heaven domain for 3,000 years. Do the three of you dare to make a bet? Yi Qinghan scanned the heavens and asked coldly. No. Immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu replied at the same time. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but reveal a disdainful smile. It seemed like they had already lost in their hearts. They didn't dare to risk it. They didn't want to give Yi Qinghan a chance to reach the top. If they didn't enter the primal chaos heaven domain and obtain half of the alien star root's basic source, Yi Qinghan wouldn't be able to become an ancestor. Everything was set in stone. Don't you want to transcend nature? Yi Qinghan sneered. Yen Yu replied coldly, Abode Lord Yi, you are thinking too far ahead. There is no way to transcend the ancestor realm. Then what are you afraid of? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Because we desire peace. Immemorial Yin Yang said solemnly, look at the common people. They desire peace more. Ha! Yi Qinghan raised his head and laughed. He would believe anyone who said they desired peace, but he didn't believe immemorial Yin Yang's words. Yen Emperor didn't believe it either. However, he didn't force immemorial Yin Yang too much. Everything was predestined. Those who shouldn't escape were destined not to escape. He had already waited for 2 eras. A little more time wouldn't make a difference. Abode Lord Yi, you are too murderous. Immemorial Yin Yang stared at Yi Qinghan and reminded, wait until you settle down for 10,000 years. Wait until you see the common people develop for 10,000 years. Then, you can talk to this ancestor about transcending the ancestor realm. Immemorial Yin Yang tried to use the common people to tie down Yi Qinghan. However, he didn't know that Yi Qinghan had refined a plane in order to survive. That plane was his everything. Yi Qinghan retracted his cold gaze. The corner of his lips curled up as he mocked hoarsely, then let's wait 10,000 years and see if my murderous heart is purified. In the ancestral land of the Yen clan, Yen Emperor stood in the same place as before. He waved the human sovereign's sword elegantly, causing the sky to tremble. Nine-colored, can you still watch my sword dance? Yen Emperor's sword moved faster and faster. It was so fast that one couldn't tell the real body from the afterimage. The sorrow and anger in his heart poured out from the tip of the sword. Instantly, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Heavy rain poured down. However, wherever the human sovereign sword passed, everything avoided it. The great Tao retreated. Psst, psst, psst. Hiss, Chi Yen hissed. He looked at Yen Emperor as if he was possessed. Whoosh, a goddess seemed to appear in the sky, dancing gracefully. Her nine-colored robe fluttered in the wind, causing the common people to dance. Whoosh. Yen Emperor flew over. However, he missed. Nine-colored Fan Xen was nowhere to be seen. 8 lives in exchange for Yen Emperor's return. Nine-colored Fan Xian's love surpassed everything. Ah, Yen Emperor's sword pierced the sky as he roared, "What is all this for?" Fan Xian. 36 Yen clan elders, return to your positions. As long as you are willing to return, I am willing to be an ordinary Yen. Whoosh. Boom! In the ancestral land of Yen clan, a tall mountain rose from the ground. The human emperor peak seized the might of the firmament. The mountains trembled and everything returned to its original state according to Yen Emperor's memories. However, the people were no longer there. Pudong. Yen Emperor knelt halfway up human sovereign peak. Nine-colored Fan Xen danced with Yen Emperor with her life. She had already merged with Yen Emperor. Woo woo woo, ah! Yen Emperor's body curled up in extreme pain. His father abandoned him, his nephew betrayed him, and his clansmen died. He was alone in this world. Even nine-colored Fan Xen was destroyed because of him. There was no more nine-colored Fan Xen. Crying softly was perhaps the most painful thing. Yen Yu stood in the distance and watched. There was a trace of regret in his eyes. If not for the ancestor realm, he wouldn't have given up Yen Emperor, his clansmen, and everything. Now that he had reached the peak, what he gained seemed to be disproportionate to what he lost. In the distant horizon, Yi Qinghan stood alone on the heaven-defying path. When he saw Yen Emperor stubbornly turning into a demon, he felt sorrow in his heart. What he lost could never be regained. One. Boom. The heavenly Tao roared as if to express its apology. However, it was too useless. It couldn't even suppress the immemorial yin-yang. Now, it had to settle for the 5th position. Is there any hope? Yi Qinghan asked hoarsely. Buzz. Boom boom boom. The heavenly Tao gathered and created a phenomenon. At this moment in the new order, Supreme Yi avoided the heavenly Tao order and approached Qiu Tian domain from the chaotic heavenly domain. There were 3 boundaries there. These weren't ordinary boundaries. The heavenly Tao order couldn't get close to Qiu Tian domain. However, he wanted to take the risk. He was the same as Yi Qinghan. After countless years of companionship, he already had feelings for Yi Qinghan. It was fine if he didn't want to be the emperor, but it was impossible without his boss. Boss, I'm loyal to you. If I win the bet this time, I'll help you step into the progenitor realm. If I lose, don't blame me. I'm definitely not an ungrateful person, Supreme Yi whispered with a firm expression. After a long time, Yi Qinghan let go of Jian Chenxue and put away the bowl in Jian Chenxue's hands. He said firmly, "This is definitely not the first time you've drunk wine. Put it away. In the future, we'll use this bowl to drink with everyone." What? The army put away the bowl in their hands. It was more precious than any treasure in the world. Boom. Bang. Yi Qinghan straightened his body and performed the ancient killing god bow. What? Bang. The army was uniform and imposing. The ancient killing god bow was the symbol of Kuang Fu. It represented no regrets even if they died. It also represented indomitable will and never compromise. Some people understood it, so they understood it. Some people did not understand it, so they did not understand it. Just like the people of Kuang Fu and Lu Feng's army, the meaning of their existence was different. If Yi Qinghan asked what the meaning of their existence was, the answer would definitely be different. Therefore, the ancient killing god bow performed by Lu Feng's army was neither fish nor fowl because they did not understand the people of Kuang Fu. What? Yi Qinghan waved his hand, and the chess saint and the other commanders of the army quickly withdrew the army. Even if it was peaceful, they would not slack off and were always prepared for war. This was because the people of Kuang Fu understood what Yi Qinghan's last bow meant. Indomitable, no regrets even if they died. As long as the enemy was not eliminated, the war would not end. Yi Qinghan looked at the army retreating and felt a little guilty. They should have enjoyed peace, but he had brought them to the abyss again. The next battle would be the final battle. If they won, true peace would come. If they lost, these 20 million people would be wiped out without exception. Jian Chenxue reached out and held Yi Qinghan's hand. She said gently, "Husband, why are you so serious? The war is over. Relax, don't tire yourself out." Yi Qinghan smiled and stroked Jian Chenxue's black hair. He replied, "Yes, it's time to end it. Let's go back to the ancestral land and take a look." Qitian Monkey King, Gu Qingyu, Emperor Yi, Mu Zhuang, Lin Wugen, all the older generation wanted to go back and take a look. Yi Qinghan called out 9 Nether and Lord Fazhen. He led them all the way to the depths of the immortal domain. The immortal domain was the region of the immortal world. Its affiliated planes were at the edge of the immortal domain. That was the root of Kuang Fu. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and the order that the progenitor realm had forcefully changed was restored. Everything returned to dust. Chapter 2938. The Owl Fall Star was located at the edge of the revival of all things. Therefore, this place was not destroyed and everything was still the same. Jiangning County, Sky Sword Sect. Yi Qinghan did not bring anyone but Jian Chenxue as he stepped into the Sky Sword Sect. Jade Maiden Peak. Jian Chenxue was still very familiar with the place where she cultivated in the past. However, her master, Master Yu, had already transformed into the Tao. Jian Chenxue's eyes flashed with confusion. There was reluctance, sadness, and some other complicated emotions. "Hua?" Yi Qinghan rubbed Jian Chenxue's head and whispered, "Chenxue, you haven't been back for many years, right?" Jian Chenxue nodded subconsciously. This was where she met Yi Qinghan. This was also where she followed Yi Qinghan away from her master. She followed Yi Qinghan to explore the world without any complaints. "Husband, let's settle down here. I have never asked you for anything. This is just a small request. Since we are at peace, we will return to where we came from. Mother also has the same intention." Jian Chenxue sat on Jade Maiden Peak and touched the stone wall with her jade-like hands. Everything was just like yesterday. Unfortunately, the people from back then were no longer here. The Sky Sword sect had disappeared and was occupied by a new force. However, they did not discover Yi Qinghan and Jian Chenxue. Yi Qinghan looked at the 9 peaks in a daze. There was not much emotion in his eyes. However, Wang Shi had always wanted to come back. Therefore, this place was also one of his points of attachment. Moreover, it was Jian Chenxue's route. Therefore, he also began to miss this place. Yi Qinghan hugged Jian Chenxue and whispered, "I will come back. However, not now. Maybe after some time." "Isn't it at peace? Why do we have to wait?" Jian Chenxue asked in confusion. Yi Qinghan smiled and replied with a hoarse voice, "Silly girl, how can there be complete peace? Wait until I become an ancestor. That will be true peace. At that time, if I don't make a move, Yen Yu and immemorial Yin Yang will not make a move. That is the peace I want. I will wait for you." Jian Chenxue slowly leaned on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and whispered. In the ancestral land of the Yen clan, Yi Chenxing and Hua Lingtian, the last 2 successors of the Yen clan, stood beside the Yen emperor. They were determined and persistent. At this moment, if the Yen emperor asked them to die, they would do it without hesitation. Flame Emperor looked like he had aged many years. His face was full of stubble. He drank wine and hugged his sword. He sat like that for a few years. Yi Chenxing and Hua Lingtian stood there for a few years as well. They did not say anything and just silently accompanied him. Yen Yu left and didn't pay attention to Yen Emperor anymore. He felt that Yen Emperor was useless and had no more goals. Yen Yu was no longer Yen Emperor. Although the Flame Emperor was drinking, His consciousness was constantly paying attention to the great Tao of man and the great Tao of yin and yang. A few years later, even the immemorial yin yang stopped paying attention to the flame emperor. The Yen emperor set up an illusory realm. His true body left quietly with the two of them while his clone was still drinking on the human emperor's peak. In a deep valley, birds chirped and flowers bloomed. The Yen emperor seemed to have changed. His back was facing the two of them, and his hands were behind his back. Your Majesty, my condolences. The Yen clan is not destroyed yet. Your Majesty's will is still there. The revival of the Yen clan is just around the corner. Hualing Tian and Yi Chenxing knelt down on one knee and said respectfully. The Yen emperor looked at the sky and said indifferently, "The two of you, do me a favor." What favor? Yi Chenxing and Hualing Tian rejoiced. They were afraid that the Yen emperor would not be able to recover from his defeat. Cultivate the second section of the Yen emperor's great Tao. There are only 2 moves. The two of you cultivate one each. The Yen emperor said calmly. Yi Chenxing and Hualing Tian were shocked. What was the use of cultivating one move? The great Tao of yin and yang and the great Tao of human Tao have flaws. These 2 moves are meant to deal with Yen Yu and the immemorial yin yang. The Yen emperor said hoarsely. Yi Chenxing and Hualing Tian were excited. The 2 ancestor realms actually had flaws. Didn't that mean that they had a chance to win? Your Majesty, please bestow us the great Tao. The 2 of them said respectfully again. Whoosh! The Yen emperor waved his hand and 2 beams of light entered the 2's sea of consciousness. Hualing Tian, you cultivate the chaotic emotions. Your goal is to disturb Yen Yu's state of mind and disrupt his Tao. In the great Tao of yin and yang, the disharmony between yin and yang is the flaw of the immemorial yin and yang. Yi Chenxing, you cultivate the blazing yang. Your goal is to disrupt the balance of yin and yang between heaven and earth, causing yang to flourish and yin to weaken. Yes. The 2 of them said excitedly. Ancestor realms are not easy to kill. You have to be prepared to die. The Yen emperor looked at the 2 and reminded them. Yi Chenxing took a deep breath and said through gritted teeth, as long as the 36 elders and all the flame people can rest in peace, we will be satisfied even if we die. I think so too. We will die before we die. Hualing Tian said firmly. We, the flame people, will not be slaves even if we die. Those who offend our race will be killed no matter how strong they are. The one who wants to break the legacies of the ancient gods and ancient immortals is not abode Lord Yi but me. The Yen emperor revealed a stern look. However, Hualing Tian and Yi Chenxing did not find it inappropriate at all. Why did the Yen emperor go to war in the past? Why did he have to lead all the flame people into battle, even though Yen Yu didn't help him? Those who offend great Yen will die. I have never compromised, but I have learned to endure. The Yen emperor said hoarsely. For great Yen, we will die before we die. Yi Chenxing and Hualing Tian cupped their fists and said. In the chaos heavenly domain, a wretched young man hid on the belly of a heavenly beast and slowly approached the chaos heavenly domain. Although there were 3 barriers, they could not stop his determination. Yin-yang person, wait for my boss to stab you in the ass. Supreme Yi grinned and rubbed his hands, wanting to get closer to the barrier. At this moment, the land of chaos nirvana suddenly surged. Lightning struck and formed an old man. He had white hair and a wise gaze. However, his gaze was very similar to Supreme Yi's. There was a wretched and despicable feeling in his bones. Fuck, Dad, are you trying to scare me to death? Supreme Yi shuddered and almost wet himself. The old man glared and cursed, You little bastard, do you have a death wish? If the primordial yin-yang and yen you find out about this, all my years of hard work will be in vain. You old thing, you still have the cheek to say that? Hard work my ass. I'm the one who worked hard. You worked hard and got me out. Now, you dare to say that you worked hard in front of me? Do you think I won't ask my boss to come in and tear your thick face apart? Supreme Yi cursed with his hands on his hips. The old man was the divine bird's father. He was just an order. However, he was not emotionless. He developed from the beginning of the chaos and relied on his wretchedness to become the heavenly Tao's order. Back then, when he was suppressed, he used a spirit-devouring divine parrot to force a phoenix. After giving birth to the divine bird, he left the divine bird in the 100,000 mountains and faked his death to escape. At this moment he was slapped in the face by the New Order, but he did not care at all. Instead, he said earnestly, "Do you know how much effort I put in for the alien planet, for the tribulation taker, and to send you out? I used a little bird to force a low-level creature like the immortal phoenix. How much humiliation did I endure? It took me a whole 3 seconds. The older the ginger, the spicier it was. In terms of shamelessness, this old man was the most shameless. Hurry up and get lost. Don't say that you're the heavenly Tao's order in the future." Supreme Yi was powerless. In the chaos heavenly domain, he had encountered an unprecedented opponent. Chapter 2939. Supreme Yi had finally met his match. He waved his hand and said, "Hurry up and get lost. You're so wretched. I'm ashamed to be associated with you. Father, I'm going to do something serious. Don't disturb me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." "You'll implicate me," the old man said with a glare. Crack, crack, crack. Supreme Yi clenched his fists and glared at his father. He pretended to be powerful and had 70% of Yi Qinghan's aura. "The Yen Emperor wants to kill his own father. Do you want me to kill you first with a shake of my tiger body?" Whoosh! The old man shrank his head and left. Supreme Yi curled his lips and turned to look at the Qiu Tian domain. The two domains had already been separated and were protected by a barrier. This was not a simple barrier, but a barrier set up by two ancestors and an existence that was not part of the 5 elements. Supreme Yi did not know if he could enter the Qiu Tian domain. Whoosh! The Supreme Yi jumped outside the barrier. His body suddenly distorted and evolved into a new order. This new order came from the Qiu Tian domain. This was the foundation for him to enter the Qiu Tian domain. Otherwise, he would not have a chance. "Boss, bless me to enter the Qiu Tian domain smoothly and bring back the origin energy of the ancestor realm and above." The new order turned into pure new energy and scattered near the barrier. The barrier did not react much. It was common for energy to collide with the barrier. It was impossible for the immemorial yin-yang to come over and take a look. Moreover, the new order had scattered the energy. Whoosh! The first layer of the barrier was the human path barrier set up by Yenyu. The second layer was the reverse 5 elements barrier set up by Yi Qinghan. Far away in the Crazy Manners camp, Yi Qinghan's eyes suddenly flashed as he looked in the direction of the chaotic heavenly domain. "Have you taken action?" Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. He and Supreme Yi knew about this matter, but the Crazy Manner did not. They all thought that he was really angry and had completely chased Supreme Yi away. The moment the reverse 5 elements barrier was activated, Yi Qinghan sensed Supreme Yi. They had been together for countless years and endured many great calamities. They were too familiar with each other. Soon enough, the energy formed by the new order passed through the depths of the reverse elemental barrier and prepared to enter the yin-yang barrier laid down by the immemorial yin-yang. This time, Supreme Yi carefully entered the yin-yang barrier bit by bit. A small energy wave could alert ancient yin-yang, but it was just a small energy cluster. No matter how careful ancient yin-yang was, it wouldn't be able to defend against a fingertip-sized energy order. Plus, that energy order was the energy order of Qiu Tian realm. On each day, Supreme Yi would mobilize a portion of the new order to sneak into the Qiu Tian domain. This lasted for several months before the new order stepped into the Seeking Heaven domain. What did it mean to seek the heavens? Praying to the heavens was the same as praying to the heavens. Praying to the celestial region was the same as praying to the heavens. Everything was in a primordial state, and it was even more ancient than the Chaos Heavenly Domain. In the Chaos Heavenly Domain, there were at least various laws and logos of order, lightning, heavenly beasts, and meteorites. However, in this place, there were only masses of energy. There was no law or order to speak of, and everything was chaotic. Wanting to comprehend and transcend the ancestor realm in this place was not something that a human could do. No wonder the yin-yang people gave up on transcending the ancestor realm. Supreme Yi looked at the simple and ancient Qiu Tian realm. If they fought here, they probably wouldn't even cause the slightest ripple, and it wouldn't affect too much. Supreme Yi transformed into a new order and shuttled through the Qiutian realm. It was endless, and he couldn't see the end or the beginning. The ancestor realm energy was too strong and violent. It could even directly destroy all matter that approached it. There were quite a lot of energy sources in the ancestor realm, but there was no energy that could transcend the ancestor realm. At least, Supreme Yi hadn't encountered any after wandering around for so long. It's a pity that boss isn't here. Otherwise, he would definitely be able to step into the ancestor realm very quickly. Supreme Yi sometimes transformed into a human, and sometimes he existed as a matter of the new order. He kept jumping and shuttling. I vaguely remember that this place doesn't seem to be so simple. There should be a star region, order, and life planets. Could it be that my memory is wrong? Supreme Yi transformed into a human and frowned as he pondered. Back then, the birth of the new order was also gathered from the endless depths. He more or less had some memories of the Qiutian realm. However, the Qiutian realm was too big, so big that it was boundless. Moreover, it was easy to get lost because there were no directional signs or light within a radius of countless miles. Once the energy storm erupted, one would immediately get lost here. Fuck, where the hell am I going to find the source energy above the ancestor realm? Supreme Yi stomped his feet and looked around. Everything was the same. He might not even be able to find his way back. If it was so easy to find the source energy above the ancestor realm, Supreme Yi wouldn't have to take it. The primordial yin-yang and yen you would have found it long ago. I'll take some ancestor realm source energy back as an apology. Boss isn't that stingy. Supreme Yi struggled to sit up helplessly. He used the new order to refine countless ancestor realm sources. Chapter 2940. At this moment, the Flame Emperor was enduring. He had righteousness, but if he was ruthless, he would break the inheritance of the ancient gods and ancient immortals and the method of the primal chaos heavenly domain. Cold light surged, and the four supreme beings retreated 1,000 miles each and slowly left. In the seeking heavenly domain, Supreme Yi used the chaotic energy to supply the barrier and continuously scattered into the 5 elements reverse barrier. With the help of Yi Qinghan's 5 elements reverse barrier, he successfully left the human Dao barrier and entered the primal chaos heavenly domain. Plop, Supreme Yi was so scared that his legs went weak. It was not easy for him to sneak into the seeking heavenly domain, but he did not obtain the origin of the ancestor realm. He was indeed unwilling. Old man, get out here. Where can I find the origin of the ancestor realm? Why is the seeking heavenly domain different from what I remember? Supreme Yi glared at the sky and questioned angrily. Whoosh! His father appeared again and replied with a speechless expression, "How would I know if you ask me? If I had the ability, I would have already transcended the ancestor realm. Who would bring these unfilial sons to play? What a good-for-nothing. Why don't you pass the position to me? I'll bring you to play, pass through the ancestor realm, and bring you to defy the heavens?" Supreme Yi rubbed his hands and gestured. Slept. I am the heavens, you are the son of the heavens. Damn it, there are people shouting to defy the heavens every day. Even a little bastard like you has to shout. His father slapped the back of Supreme Yi's head in exasperation and said angrily. Supreme Yi curled his lips and looked at his father, who had a wretched look in his eyes. He had a feeling that he knew where the energy of the ancestor realm's origin was, but he refused to say. You are the same as me. There is no truth in your mouth. When my boss steps into the ancestor realm, I will settle the score with you. Supreme Yi got up unwillingly and threatened angrily. I'm your father. Father Heavenly Tao said with a flattering smile. I really don't know about the energy source of the ancestor realm. You saw the seeking heavenly domain. It was not easy for me to give birth to a new order. Do you think order is so fun? Supreme Yi stepped out of the primal chaos heavenly domain and turned around to look at his father's wretched face. He was sure that his father definitely knew where the source energy of the transcendent ancestor realm was, but he didn't seem to want anyone to transcend the ancestor realm, so it was better to be peaceful like this. Don't be reckless. Primordial yin-yang, yen-yu, I'm definitely going to beat these two old things up. Sovereign Ye's figure flashed as he rushed towards Kwang Manor. Whoosh! Whoosh! Paragon Ye's silhouette flashed across the sky, morphing into the Order Dharma logos. He moved as fast as lightning and appeared in the heaven-suppressing palace's district in just a blink of an eye. On sky-gazing peak, Yi Qinghan stood at the highest point and looked down at the world. When he saw Supreme Venerable Yi appear, a smile finally appeared on his face. As expected, he didn't disappoint me, Yi Qinghan muttered to himself. Whoosh! Whoosh! Supreme Yi appeared at the top of sky-gazing peak and said with a fawning smile, "Boss, I'll get you some Ancestor Realm source energy. If you can comprehend it and reach the Ancestor Realm, wouldn't it be very easy for you to fight the primordial yin-yang?" Yi Qinghan waved his hand and received a ball of Ancestor Realm energy source energy. It was difficult to understand and had boundless power. It could explode at any time. If this ball of energy exploded, half of the ancient immortal world would be destroyed. At this moment, the Ancestor Realm source energy was very stable. As long as Yi Qinghan did not stimulate it, it might continue to be stable. Yi Qinghan looked at the ball of energy source and a light flashed across his eyes. "Divine Bird, what's your father's attitude?" Yi Qinghan asked in a deep voice. Supreme Yi rolled his eyes and shrugged. "This old fellow is too cheap and wretched. He doesn't speak the truth. I don't know what his attitude is either." Yi Qinghan looked at Supreme Yi and said disdainfully, "In terms of being cheap and wretched, who can surpass you? I'm ashamed of my inferiority. I'm ashamed of my inferiority." Supreme Yi sighed helplessly. Yi Qinghan shook his head and sighed. They were all from the same family. Little Money Grubber, Little Divine Bird, Supreme Yi, and this father. As expected, no one in this family was easy to provoke. "Go and communicate with your wife and child. They are all in Wutian's hands," Yi Qinghan said calmly. Supreme Yi immediately heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Yi Qinghan still did not blame him. "Thank you, boss. I am loyal and devoted. I will not hesitate to go through a mountain of blades or a sea of fire for you. If you need anything, call me again. It might be easier to enter the heaven domain again," Supreme Yi said with a flattering smile. Yi Qinghan smiled slightly and waved his hand. "And I understand. I won't appear again in the near future. As for Qin Shui, you will be in charge. You understand?" Supreme Yi's eyes flashed. He exchanged a look with Yi Qinghan and knew what was going on. Their feelings had already been integrated into their souls, so there was no need to talk nonsense. "No problem. Leave it to me," Supreme Yi replied affirmatively. After Supreme Yi left, Yi Qinghan waved his hand to conceal the secrets of heaven. A barrier enveloped Sky-Gazing Peak, and no one could enter Sky-Gazing Peak without permission. Yi Qinghan sat cross-legged in the courtyard and looked at the progenitor realm's origin energy in his hand. Chapter 2941. In the Heaven-Suppressing Palace's main imperial palace, Supreme Yi had been nagging in front of Jian Shui for an entire day and night, scolding the primordial yin-yang to the core. Jian Shui was yawning as she looked at Supreme Yi speechlessly, not knowing what he was trying to do. There's one more thing, the primordial yin-yang is too shameless. No matter how much he is scolded, he won't have any reaction. Because he even sleeps with himself, what shame does he have? Supreme Yi crossed his legs as he scolded happily while drinking wine. Emperor Yi was confused. He was worried that Sovereign Yi was here to scold Jian Shui. Who would have thought that he would scold Jian Shui for an entire day and night? He was scolding the yin-yang people. He even scolded the yin-yang people to their bones. Damn, I'm out of words. I'll scold again. Supreme Yi touched his mouth. He had been talking for an entire day and night, and his mouth was almost tied. Emperor Yi and Jian Shui were rolling their eyes. They wanted to leave, but Supreme Yi did not let them. "It wasn't easy for me to find someone to talk to. You have to listen to me and let me be happy. You can't leave," Supreme Yi said firmly. In the main palace, Emperor Yi and Jian Shui touched their foreheads helplessly. At this moment, a ghastly aura surged out from the depths of Jian Shui's psyche ocean. An ancestor realm cultivator appeared out of thin air in the main imperial palace and stared at Supreme Yi with murderous intent. "Are you done scolding?" Primordial Absolute Yin couldn't hold it in anymore. She had been scolded by Supreme Yi for an entire day and night. She had endured it for an entire day and night, but she couldn't hold it in anymore. Jian Chenxue and Emperor Yi were shocked. They retreated and looked at Primordial Absolute Yin vigilantly. Primordial Absolute Yin had been lurking in the depths of Jian Chenxue's sea of consciousness without any fluctuations. Jian Chenxue did not know that she could control Jian Chenxue to assassinate Yi Qinghan at any time, but she did not find the right opportunity. She wanted to erupt at the critical moment, but who knew that she would be scolded by Sovereign Yi before the critical moment arrived? Everything seemed to be clear now. Yi Qinghan had given Jian Chenxue poison wine. It couldn't kill an ancestor, but it could kill Jian Chenxue. However, it would only erupt when the Primordial Absolute Yin took control of Jian Chenxue. At that moment, Jian Chenxue would die, and the Primordial Absolute Yin would most likely not be able to escape. Yi Qinghan felt guilty for poisoning Jian Chenxue, so he knelt down. But at this moment, it seemed that there was no need to feel guilty, because the Primordial Extreme Yin had run out on its own. He had no choice, he couldn't help it. No one could endure being scolded for a day and a night, not to mention that Sovereign Ye's mouth was so venomous that even an ancestor would not be able to endure it. Sovereign Yi originally wanted to scold the Primordial Yin Yang to vent his anger, but he did not expect to scold the Primordial Absolute Yin to come out. He immediately trembled and smiled obsequiously. "So you're here too? Pa, I was just joking. It's fine now. Everyone, continue with your work. I'm going to take the child." Whoosh! Sovereign Yi ran out of the Imperial Hall, but since the Primordial Absolute Yin had come out, how could she let him escape? Boom! Buzz! The void distorted, and Sovereign Yi, who had escaped, was captured by a will again. It was as if he had never moved, and he returned to the Primordial Absolute Yin. Plop! Sovereign Yi directly knelt in front of the Primordial Absolute Yin and said lowly, "You're a dignified ancestor. You won't argue with me, right?" Crack, crack, crack. The Primordial Absolute Yin stared at Sovereign Yi with killing intent in her eyes. She waved her hand and grabbed at Sovereign Yi. Boom! Bang! Suddenly, a sky-covering handprint appeared outside the Imperial Hall. It shattered the Primordial Absolute Yin's palm and directly blasted into her body. It directly blasted the Primordial Absolute Yin back and collapsed the Imperial Hall. A godlike existence protected Jian Chenxue, Emperor Yi, and the others behind him. Zhongquang waved his hand and reassembled. Yi Qinghan stepped toward the Primordial Absolute Yin. The Primordial Absolute Yin fell to the ground fiercely. In the blink of an eye, she fled into the distance. What dogs hit Ancestor Realm? Bitch, you don't even dare to look at boss's face. Look at your cowardly face. Go home and hug yourself and cry, Yin Yang pervert, Sovereign Yi roared. The Primordial Absolute Yin almost fell from the sky. She was flustered and exasperated as she roared in the void, "Supreme Yi, I will definitely turn you into ashes." Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes and did not chase after her. Although the other party was not his match, her strength was not weak. If he took a detour back to Quang Manor, it would cause a large number of experts to die. Phew! Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. The Primordial Yin Yang's backup was the Primordial Absolute Yin. Now that he had forced her out of Jian Chenxue's sea of consciousness, he was completely relieved that he did not have to abandon Jian Chenxue. "I really didn't expect you to be able to scold her out." Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched as he looked at Sovereign Yi and said. Sovereign Yi smiled proudly and said, "This is nothing. I'll scold her another day. I'll scold her until she commits suicide out of shame." Jian Chenxue's entire body trembled. She did not expect the Primordial Absolute Yin to be hiding in the depths of her sea of consciousness. Just thinking about what she was going to do made her hair stand on end. Primordial Yin Yang still did not seem to believe the ancient heavenly emperor. After all, he was the Yen Emperor's nephew. The Yen Emperor had seen him before, and the ancient heavenly emperor had also cultivated the Yen Emperor's great Tao. The Primordial Yin Yang pondered for a moment before asking, "He can be trusted?" Yen Yu smiled confidently and asked, He has killed so many people from Kuang Fu and slaughtered all the flame people. Does he have a choice? Was there any other choice? The ancient heavenly emperor had asked himself this before. It seemed like he had no other choice. At this moment, the ancient heavenly emperor was attacking the ancestor realm. In addition to the ancestor realm experience that Yen Yu gave him, he had a high chance of claiming the title of ancestor. He was different from Yen Yu and the immemorial Yin Yang. Without any ancestor realm experience, it was very difficult to claim the title of ancestor. They could only rely on Yi Qinghan and the alien star to claim the title. The ancestor realm aura was blocked by Yen Yu. The heavenly Tao order was unable to sense the birth of a new ancestor realm expert. In 30 years, the ancient heavenly emperor would definitely claim the title of ancestor. At this moment, Yi Qinghan was madly attacking the ancestor realm. He wanted to refine this ancestor realm source. Even if it did not have any laws, he could still comprehend it. However, he needed time. Moreover, this energy source was similar to the alien star. As long as he could turn it into the alien star root's basic source, he would be able to make up for the missing half of the alien star root's basic source. Yi Qinghan found a way to refine the ancestor realm's energy source into the alien star root's basic source. The reverse 5 elements enchantment covered space and time. No one could sense that the existence on Sky-Gazing Peak was attacking the ancestor realm. Human Emperor Peak. Yen Emperor seemed to have given up. His eyes were cloudy. However, no one was more determined than him. Not only did he want to claim the title of ancestor, he also wanted to transcend the ancestor realm. He wanted to revive the Yen clan and revive the 9-colored Brahma heart. Otherwise, what was the point of claiming the title of ancestor? Was it just for revenge? The Yen Emperor gripped the human emperor's sword and looked at the sky. His face was covered in stubble and his eyes were filled with sorrow. Hiss! Qi Yen hissed and refused to leave. Hua! Yen Emperor's body began to emit a different aura. It was the aura of an ancestor realm expert. However, it was very thin. He was relying on himself. He was not like Yi Qinghan who relied on the alien star's foundation. He was not like the ancient heavenly emperor who relied on the ancestor realm's experience and source. He was also not like immemorial Yin Yang and Yen Yu who relied on countless years of scheming. The ancestor realm energy had been refined by Yi Qinghan and was now replacing the abnormal star's foundation. Once Yi Qinghan entered the ancestor realm, his strength would increase by 1,000 times. Back then, he could only stall for time with the immemorial Yin Yang and was suppressed. But once he entered the ancestor realm, even the immemorial Yin Yang fusion would be defeated. This was the reversal. A slight difference could lead to a huge difference. Yi Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly, and the great world in his body was almost on par with the Yen Emperor universe. The laws were stabilized, and life planets were growing like bamboo shoots after a rain. Yi Qinghan's aura was about to reach its limit, and the reverse elemental barrier could no longer hold him back. The ancestor realm was within his reach. Boom, boom, boom. Yi Qinghan's blood boiled, and his body turned ethereal. He had completely left the 5 elements, and unless someone who surpassed the ancestor realm was born, no one could kill him. Roar, the multicolored snake, God-devourer eagle, and little golden crow benefited from Yi Qinghan's breakthrough to the ancestor realm, and they all rushed into the Taigu Emperor realm. In an instant, dragon roars and eagle cries resounded, and the world changed color. Roar! A terrifying aura rushed to the foot of Sky-Gazing Peak, spreading in all directions. Whoosh! Countless stars shrouded the area, bathing the area within 1,000,000 miles. At the same time, the ancient heavenly emperor rushed into the sky, and his ancestral aura fell on the heavenly river, causing countless mountains and rivers to kneel. Ah! The ancient heavenly emperor roared, and his killing intent soared. He had reached the ancestor realm. Just a moment ago, the Yen emperor stepped out of his domain with sword in hand, riding the scarlet flames as he slowly walked toward the Yen clan's ancestral land. Whoosh! A jar of strong wine splashed into the sky. Yen clan's heroes, watch me today. I will kill Yin and Yang, destroy evil, and end all eternity on behalf of the heavens. The Yen Emperor's expression was normal, as if he was doing something trivial. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, boom boom boom. In an instant heaven and earth roared, and myriad laws surged. Ancestor realm experts could not create lightning tribulations at all. The primal chaos heavenly domain could not control the ancestor realm, so how could it send down lightning tribulations? At the same time, the 5 elements in heaven and earth distorted, and the mountains and rivers became restless. Everyone's vision turned illusory, and they could not see the myriad laws and order. Order was in chaos, and the 5 elements were in chaos. Yi Qinghan had completely stepped out of the 5 elements, and the attacks of ancestor realm experts could not do much to him. A war god stood on the mountain peak and roared, as if an ancient killing god was shouting, venting the anger and killing intent in his heart. The reason why he released the new order, Sovereign Yi, and let him bring the ancestor realm source out was because he wanted to end this war as soon as possible. However, even the heavens would miscalculate. He did not take the Flame Emperor and the ancient Heavenly Emperor into account. With a wave of his hand, Yi Qinghan retrieved Supreme Being Yi back into his body, completely cutting off any thoughts of the Divine Bird's father. Boom! Yi Qinghan held the reverse 5-element saber and stepped out of the 5 elements, heading towards the center of the ancient immortal world. The figures of the 5 experts flashed, facing each other with murderous intent. 5 great Taos collided with the dome, standing above the heavenly Tao. The laws and logos of order could not withstand such a blow. With the 5 experts attacking, the entire ancient immortal world would collapse and turn into dust. No one would survive, including Kuang Fu. Thus, the heavenly Tao was enraged. The Divine Bird's father could not hold it in and scolded, "You unfilial sons! I gave birth to you after all. You want to destroy this place? Don't bully me because I'm old and weak. If you want to fight, go to the heaven region. Do you believe that you will all die there?" The 5 ancestor realm experts looked at the Divine Bird's father in disdain. No one in the world could surpass the ancestor realm. The only ones who could kill them were the 5 of them. Infuriating. Infuriating. You 5 bastards. You 5 ingrates. You destroyed the ancient immortal world for the sake of your so-called hatred. Didn't you get nothing in the end? What did you get in the end? The Divine Bird's father transformed into a human and appeared in the center of the ancient immortal world, glaring at the 5. The 5 of them were silent for a long time. What was the point of destroying the ancient immortal world? Yi Qinghan could not bear to part with Kuang Fu. Yen Emperor hoped to revive the Yen clan, and the ancient Heavenly Emperor could not let go of Gu Jiutian. Yen Yu and the primeval Yin Yang Emperor only wanted to end time, not destroy the universe. Listen to my advice, 5 bosses. Let's disperse. At this level, what's there to be unhappy about? The Divine Bird's father pleaded. Hiss. Yen Emperor took a deep breath and pressed his hand on the human Emperor sword. He said calmly, "This battle must start. Otherwise, my Tao heart will be damaged, and the countless Yen clan people will die in vain." Yen Emperor's killing intent had been revealed, but his nature had not changed. Those who offended Great Yen must be killed, no matter how strong they were. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. Yi Qinghan looked at the 20 million soldiers behind him, ready to fight. He could not suppress his temper at all. The people of Kuang Fu will not die in vain. Ancient Heavenly Emperor swept his leg and formed a pincer attack with Yen Yu, blocking Yi Qinghan in the middle. Bang! Primordial Chaos Heavenly Domain's ancestor realm sent a palm strike towards Yi Qinghan's back, wanting to grab Supreme Sovereign Yi. Primordial Yin Yang's sword pierced through the void and headed straight for Yi Qinghan's head. Bang! In an instant, 4 Supreme Ancestor Realm experts surrounded Yi Qinghan, wanting to take advantage of the chaos to snatch the Divine Bird's energy. Kill! Yi Qinghan roared angrily. His long saber swept across 1,000 miles and his legs kicked horizontally. As long as Yen Emperor didn't attack, he might lose, but he still had a chance to fight back. Swoosh swoosh swoosh, primordial yin yang split into 2. The sword traveled through the heavens and in the blink of an eye, It reached Zhongquang. In an instant, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, bang. Yi Qinghan kicked the primordial chaos ancestor realm expert's palm with his right leg and used the momentum to sweep towards ancient heavenly emperor and primordial yin yang. His left leg kicked towards Yenyu. In an instant, the order of the heavenly river collapsed. Heavenly Tao became unstable, and even the heaven-defying Tao trembled. Senior, are you really going to stand by and watch? It was difficult for two fists to fight four hands. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed as he continuously slashed and defeated the four supreme ancestor realm experts. However, the five elements were distorted and wanted to trap him within the five elements. The situation was precarious. The Flame Emperor was unwilling. If he helped Yi Qinghan, it would be equivalent to giving up the 9-colored Brahma heart and the people of the Flame tribe. If he didn't help, Yi Qinghan wouldn't be able to survive today. Yen Emperor was caught between two extreme choices and had a splitting headache. If I don't choose to burn my boats, how will I have the chance to soar into the sky? Yi Qinghan, I will revive you. Sorry, just as you can't give up on Supreme Yi, it can't give up on the 9-colored Brahma heart and the billions of Yen clan members. Yen Emperor didn't plan to attack. He was waiting for Yi Qinghan to be defeated so that he could seize the opportunity to snatch Supreme Yi. Yen Emperor wasn't wrong. Yi Qinghan wasn't wrong either. Boom! Bang! Crack, crack, crack. The ancient immortal world was torn apart. Mountains and rivers trembled and order collapsed. Even the divine bird couldn't stop it. Countless people became cannon fodder and suffered heavy casualties. Everyone, leave the ancient immortal world immediately. No one is allowed to participate in the battle. Yi Qinghan roared. He wasn't willing to let the crazy Manor army come to their deaths. Half-ancestors couldn't interfere in the battle of the ancestor realm. Chapter 2947. Once one entered the celestial realm, there was no order and no laws. Everything here was lawless and there was no order to speak of. However, there was a natural law operating in this place. No one could find the true law of order here. This was a place that transcended the five elements, the place where Yi Qinghan came from. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched. He felt that this place was very familiar, even though he had never been here before. I find it familiar too, but this place is different from Yi Qinghan's memories. I remember there being a planet of life here, and I remember there being stars here. But the last time I came here, there was nothing. It's so fucking weird, Supreme Yi immediately said when he sensed Yi Qinghan's mental fluctuations. Unfortunately, he did not have much time to think because the other ancestor realms had already charged in. Boom! Once the ancestor realm appeared, the chaotic energy of the Qiu-Tian domain was instantly ignited. This was the true primal chaos. Yi Qinghan blocked all of the energy storms to give Lin Wutian, Chu Shijunxian, and Lu Feng a chance to escape. 6 progenitor realm experts were facing off against each other. The Flame Emperor wanted to kill the primordial Yin-Yang Emperor and Yenyu, while Yi Qinghan wanted to kill the ancient Heavenly Emperor and the primordial Yin-Yang Emperor. However, the ancient Heavenly Emperor wanted to kill Yi Qinghan and the primordial Yin-Yang Emperor. The primordial Yin-Yang Emperor wanted to kill the Flame Emperor and Yi Qinghan to seize the ruler realm's quintessence energy. As for the primal chaos ancestor realm, they wanted to seize sovereign realm's quintessence energy. Whoosh, 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 everyone's breathing quickened. Even an ancestor realm expert could fall. Yi Qinghan stared at the Flame Emperor and said in a deep voice, "Senior Flame Emperor, since Father Divine Bird dares to say that the sovereign realm exists, it definitely exists. If others can reach it, why can't we? To me, Supreme Yi is like the Flame Ancestor and the 9-colored Brahma heart to you. I will not give up. I respect you, and I hope that you will respect me as well. Today, we will kill 4 Ancestor Realm experts and Ruler Realm experts. We will take our time, how about it?" The Flame Emperor took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice, "If you can't reach the Ruler Realm, are you willing to hand Sovereign Yi over?" Yi Qinghan fell silent. The dead were dead after all. He had no right to take away Supreme Sovereign Ye's life by using the living to save those who had been sacrificed. After a long time, Yi Qinghan did not lie to the Flame Emperor. Instead, he shook his head firmly. Yan Yu stared at the Flame Emperor and said in a deep voice, "My son, let's work together to kill Yi Qinghan and seize his sovereign realm source energy. You and I will transcend everything and the dead will return. There is no need to work together with Yi Qinghan." The stars in Seeking Heaven domain moved, space shook, and countless ancestor realm energies exploded, like fireworks exploding, illuminating the entire Seeking Heaven domain. Ha! The primal chaos progenitor laughed, and the father divine bird used him to laugh disdainfully. "Unfilial sons, since you like to fight, you can all die in the Qiutian region. So what if you are progenitors? If you dare to defy the heavens, you will still die." The chaos clouds moved in the Qiutian region, causing space and direction to become chaotic. The 6 progenitors' hair stood on end. What? Primal chaos ancestor retreated a few hundred steps, keeping a certain distance from the other ancestors, and said wretchedly, "Now, you won't have the chance to refine the new order. The new order must be refined within the primal chaos heavenly domain in order to transcend nature and become a universe master. Otherwise, you will be a rootless dominator. Without the support of the universe, you have no chance at all. In fact, it's not that no one has stepped into the dominator realm before you, but they are just frogs at the bottom of a well. It's precisely because the previous people kept refining the dominator realm origin that the primal chaos heavenly domain no longer has the dominator realm origin, leaving only this strand of dominator realm origin. Only one of you can seize the dominator realm origin." Yi Qinghan and the others frowned at the primal chaos progenitor. He did not have much vitality left. His life order was set to last for 100 years, and after 100 years, it would automatically dissipate. Also, let me tell you, the Qiutian region is not part of the primal chaos heavenly region. It is connected to many different universes and is the common Qiutian region of all universes. There is no law order here, but dominators will appear. Pray that you don't encounter any dominators and comprehend the Qiutian region more. I will let you know what is the true Qiutian region. Ha! The Father Divine Bird laughed, and the primal chaos progenitor's eyes recovered. The Father Divine Bird left, and now no one could return. No one understood the universe and the Qiutian region better than the Father Divine Bird. He is bragging. Supremacy Yi expressed his doubts. He did not know if there was a dominator realm, but he did not believe his father because he was too cheap. There was no credibility in his words. Primordial Yin Yang flashed with a cold light and said, "He's not bragging.